All right, today we're going to tackle a really common idea about the Buddha. You know, the story that he was this rich prince who just ran away from all his problems. But what if that's not the story at all? What if, instead of escaping, he was actually confronting something huge? Let's dig in.
So let's just get right to it. Did the Buddha just escape his life? Did he just quit? Was this whole spiritual journey just a fancy way to dodge his duties, to avoid pain, to get out of the messy, beautiful reality of being human? I think a lot of people see it that way, but that view kind of misses the entire point of what he was actually doing.
And everything changes the moment you hear it from his side. It's like he's saying, I didn't run away, I walked towards the truth. Think about that for a second. It wasn't an escape, it was a direct confrontation. He wasn't running from life, he was walking straight into the heart of it. And just that one little shift in how you see it, well, it changes the whole story.
Okay, so what pushed him to do this? Why walk towards this big, scary truth? Well, it all started when he stumbled upon a problem so basic, so universal, that he realized it wasn't just his problem, it's everyone's.
Now before all this, you got to remember who he was. Siddhartha Gautama. He literally had it all. I mean, he was a prince living in this perfect bubble of comfort. Anything he wanted, food, music, riches, it was his. His father made sure he was completely shielded from anything ugly or unpleasant in the world.
But, a bubble like that, it's bound to pop. And it did. He took a few trips outside the palace walls, and he saw three things that just completely shattered his world. First, he saw an old man. Then, he saw a sick person. And finally, he saw a dead body. And just like that, the illusion was gone. He was face to face with aging, sickness, and death, the raw, unavoidable facts of life. And this hit him hard. It was this massive realization that, hey, even kings can't escape pain. It doesn't matter how rich you are or how high your walls are. Suffering, it finds everyone, no exceptions. And for the first time, he saw that this wasn't just somebody else's problem. It was his problem. It's the human problem, right?
So what do you do when you're faced with a problem that big, a problem that affects everyone? He didn't try to build higher walls or distract himself with more parties. Nope. He did something totally radical. He started an investigation. But he didn't look outward. He looked inward.
And listen, his goal here wasn't to reject the world. He wasn't saying, this is all terrible, I'm out. It wasn't about fear or disgust at all. It was actually driven by this deep curiosity and compassion. He had to understand how it all works. What are the mechanics behind why we feel joy one minute and sorrow the next? Why do we suffer?
And the laboratory for this huge investigation? It was his own mind. That famous image of him sitting under the Bodhi tree, he wasn't just zoning out, he was zoning in. For him, meditation was a powerful tool. It was a way to do this deep, systematic investigation of his own mind, just to see what makes it tick.
And through this deep, inward look, he found something incredible. He realized that most of our suffering, it doesn't actually come from the outside world. It comes from our reactions to it. It comes from inside us. Things like our endless desires, that flash of anger, our touchy ego, and honestly, just plain ignorance about how our own minds operate.
So the solution then wasn't to try and change the whole world outside you. It was to understand the world inside you. Because here's the magic trick. Once you can see these inner causes of suffering clearly, once you can see desire and anger as they pop up, they start to lose their grip on you. That understanding, that is freedom.
Okay, so this whole investigation didn't just tell him what was wrong. It also showed him the way out. He discovered this incredibly practical, balanced solution, a path that, really, anyone could follow. See, he'd already tried the two extremes. He lived the life of extreme pleasure back in the palace, and he knew it was empty. So when he left, he swung to the other side. He tried extreme pain, torturing his body, starving himself, pushing himself to the absolute limit. And you know what he found? Just more suffering, no wisdom. Both extremes were just dead ends. So what was the answer? It was what he called the middle way. And it's this beautiful, elegant path right down the center, a path of balance. It avoids the trap of too much pleasure and the trap of too much pain. It's about finding a way that nurtures your body,
and your mind, leading you to this incredible, deep sense of peace.
And this wasn't just some floaty, abstract idea. It was a super practical guide for how to live your life. It's about training your mind to think clearly, to be mindful. It's about acting with integrity, speaking truthfully, acting helpfully. It's about putting in the right amount of effort, not too much, not too little. It's a whole blueprint for a good life.
And maybe this is the biggest proof of all that he didn't escape. What did he do after he found this profound peace, this enlightenment? Did he go hide on a mountaintop? No way. He did the exact opposite. For the next 45 years, he walked right back into the world, teaching, listening, connecting with people. He moved towards humanity, not away from it.
Okay, so what does this ancient story mean for you and me right here, right now? How do we actually take this lesson and use it in our own lives?
Well, the most beautiful part of his discovery is that it's for everyone. You don't have to leave your job or your family or your home to find this kind of freedom. Seriously, the journey he mapped out, it has nothing to do with changing your address.
It's all about changing your focus. That laboratory we talked about, your mind, well, you carry it with you everywhere. The whole path starts the second you decide to just look inside, to get curious about how you tick, about your reactions, your habits. It all starts right here, right now.
And that brings us to the real punchline. True, lasting freedom, it's not about finally getting everything you want or controlling the world around you. It's about understanding your own mind. Because when you see how it works, you're not a slave to it anymore. You get to be the one in charge.
So let's wrap this all up. The next time you hear that story about the Buddha, just remember, he didn't run from life. He was more like a scientist of the mind, someone who made the brave choice to turn around, face life head-on, study it, and finally, understand it.
And in that deep understanding, he found a peace so real, so profound, that he spent the rest of his life just sharing the map with anyone who would listen. His entire journey leaves us with this simple, timeless wish. He says, "I found peace, and I wish the same peace for you." What a beautiful thought to end on. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.